Wake up! Wake up, slimy fish!
Welcome to 91 Reasons, a pop culture-fueled rocket into the far reaches of nerd culture. Featuring your hosts, Jeff, Rachel, Luna, Austin, and Josie. It's Tucker time.
Fourth place, Austin. What's it like being in fourth place?
So Josie and I went to see Spiderman Far From Home, opening night. We went at 12:30 at night to watch this movie. 12:30, man. I am old. That is late. But you know what? I love my daughter. And she said, Daddy, please take me to see Spider-Man because I love Tom Holland.
I know, right?
And I said, you know what?
Pretty.
I love Tom Holland too.
We all do.
And when he speaks with his English accent, I melt like butter. So we went to see Spider-Man at 12:30. Josie went in her Spider-Man costume that I got off eBay. And her mother gave her the huge riot act about, what are you going to do if you got to go to the bathroom? Your father's going to have to help you because you can't get... she's not going to go to the bathroom during the movie. The movie's over 2 hours, plus previous.
No, my rule is I don't go to the bathroom during movies because if I miss something, I'm going to cry.
Yeah, so we went and saw Spider-Man Far From Home, the brand new Marvel movie. This is the first movie after Endgame, and it deals with the repercussions of Endgame and the snap, which they have renamed the blip. So there's the blip, and everybody blipped away, and then they blipped back, and it's a very funny movie. It opens with a obvious homemade montage to Tony Stark and the people that died during the Endgame battle, to the tune of I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston.
It's really good. It was really funny.
And, what?
Are you recording?
Yeah, I'm recording that, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Hello.
And so it ends with a picture of a bunch of candles with the, what's it called, Austin, that watermark?
iStock photo.
Getty Images. Yeah, iStock, it's very funny. And it cuts to it's a kid's newscast from high school getting you up to date on how Peter Parker is still in high school, even though it's been 5 years. And apparently anybody who blipped away for the 5 years and then blipped back has to begin their life exactly where they started or they left off. And so Peter goes back to school, even though some of his classmates are now older. Now, I didn't understand the Asian kid, Josie. He's older than them.
He's older than them.
But was he younger to them when he blipped out?
They didn't say anything about that. They just talked about how he suddenly grew up, but yet he's going on the field trip.
But he would be 20.
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense. The one real plot weirdo, and maybe I just didn't hear what they were saying.
Because they were talking about how nobody changed. After you blip back, you were exactly the same age you were when you were blipped away the first time. But then they were talking about how he looked older than he did before.
Right.
Like
But he didn't blip.
But why was he on...
He didn't blip.
with them?
I don't know. But he grew older because they all stopped for 5 years.
Yeah, but it's been 5 years since out of high school.
That's what I'm asking.
Because they were already sophomores.
And wasn't there some images of people blipping back in weird places, or am I imagining that?
No, Aunt May talked about blipping back.
Yeah. I don't know. They blipped back.
Yeah.
And Happy Hogan is trying to date Aunt May, much to Peter Parker's chagrin, and he keeps getting calls from Nick Fury, and he's ghosting. It's all in the trailer. The big check scene. What's not in the movie is the scene in the trailer in the Chinese restaurant where Peter talks to the cops about not being an Avenger or saving the world because he's too busy doing the cop's job. Which is it's a whole scene with the Iron Spider suit.
And then it's not in the movie.
Not in the movie. Yeah, it's weird. So the plot is Peter is going on a science trip with the class to Europe. They're going to visit a bunch of cities, and he's going to tell MJ that he has feelings for her at the top of the Eiffel Tower, and he's going to give her a black dahlia necklace. Right? That's the plot.
That's the plot, yeah.
And they cut to the trip, Was there any opening credits? Did it say Far From Home, or did it just open?
It just opened.
Right? I didn't imagine that, right?
No, it was just the movie. The movie just started.
Movie just started. So, as soon as they get there, they haven't even been in their hotel 5 seconds when Hydro Man, one of the elementals, attacks. And Peter has to save the day wearing a Harlequin mask because he didn't want to pack his suit. And for all intents and purposes, he didn't bring his suit. But he discovers that Aunt May packed his suit, right?
Yeah.
And then they bring up Spider Sense, which they've renamed
The Peter Tingle.
the Peter Tingle, which is very funny. Oh, I'm sorry, Luna. Am I spoiling the movie for you?
I don't know. I could just watch it, try to find a bootleg of it.
So,
I'm not going to care
yeah.
if the DVD comes out.
So,
I don't care.
oh, somebody is, I don't know what's happening. So, Peter has to fight the Hydro Man, and he meets Mysterio, who shoots green rays out of his hand, and Peter has to save a bell tower from falling, and he's trying to do it without giving away who he is.
Well, my chips be too loud.
No, you're fine. This is the most haphazard show I've ever done.
Sorry about the
We're
crunching.
playing a video game while I talk
Yeah.
about it.
So it turns out you've seen in the trailer that Nick Fury shows up and tranquilizes.
Yeah, he's recording a show right now. He's illegal over here.
He tranquilizes Ned and tells Peter that he has to save the world instead of being on vacation. And he takes him to this secret lair where Mysterio is, and they find out that Mysterio is from another dimension where his Earth was destroyed by the elementals. And he's come to this dimension to save our world from the elementals because he knows exactly where they're going to strike. It's very complicated. Even I, I pay attention in the movies, turned to Josie and said, why does he know where they're going to attack? Because they attack the other universe in the same spot, and they're going to attack this one. They're very by the book, these elementals. So they know that what is it? The metal elemental?
The fire.
The fire elemental who gains strength by
Melting fire.
he melts metal and absorbs it,
Yes.
right? So Peter decides to help them because they're going to go to Prague and fight the fire elemental when he shows up. And so the tour that they're on gets sidelined to Prague, and you find out through osmosis that the whole trip is a ruse, that Nick Fury set the whole trip up to get Peter in Europe so that he could help them fight these menaces. Because when they do the lineup of every hero, they're all unavailable for some reason. Right?
Yeah.
And Nick Fury acts very Nick Fury and says, "Bitch, please, you've been to space and you're a hard man." He is Nick Fury at his Nick Furiest. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that. I don't know, but there's a reason, I
I
guess.
just wish we didn't stay the after the credits scene.
Now, we're getting ahead of ourselves. So, Peter has to fight the elemental, and he has a heart-to-heart with Mysterio. And Mysterio is being set up as the new Tony Stark. He's going to take the place of Iron Man because Peter doesn't want it.
You know, he just wants to be a normal teen.
He wants to have a love life and a high school career and be normal, which is odd because this is a guy who carried the Infinity Gauntlet. How many people touched the Infinity Gauntlet?
Well, yeah, but I think after Tony's death, he doesn't really want anything to do with it.
Yeah, it's all played very sentimental, and it is very sad, right?
Yeah, because we do get a look into, to Peter, Tony was like his hero. And now that he's gone, he doesn't really know if he wants to be a hero.
There was a movie in the 90s, the big budget remake of Lost in Space. And in that movie, why am I bringing this up, right? In that movie, it wasn't Jim West. Jim Robinson. Anyways, the Matt LeBlanc character from Friends is in it, and he has a computer-generated helmet that appears when he needs it and vanishes when he doesn't. And I remember thinking, that is lame. That is lazy. It doesn't come from anywhere. It just wipes up and wipes down when they need it. And boy, Spider-Man Far From Home had a lot of that. Mysterio's bubble wipes up and wipes down. Spider-Man's helmet wipes up and wipes off. When he's wearing the Iron Spider suit, it's like he's Iron Man, right, Josie?
Well, yeah, it was created by...
Yeah, but it comes off weird. Like, I need to see Peter Parker taking his mask off of his physical Spider-Man costume. That's just what I like. That's just my preference.
I think that's kind of picky.
Of course it is. Of course it is. I'm a complete movie jerk. I totally get it.
There's no reason for that, you know?
Okay, so Peter is given a gift from Tony Stark from beyond the grave. He is given a pair of glasses that are biometrically assigned to him, so they're only his, and they give him access to something called Edith, which stands for Even Dead, I'm the Hero.
No.
That's what it stands for, right?
It's something like really long.
Even Dead, I'm the Hero. That's what I remember hearing.
No.
Was it something different?
Are you actually being serious?
Yeah.
No, it's some like really long sciencey name.
Oh, okay. So what it is an orbiting satellite system that can deploy drones. And when Peter tries to keep a picture of him in a compromising position, changing into his stealth costume, he almost kills his entire class with a drone. And that will be very important later in the movie, right?
Yeah.
The drones look like the drones from that Tom Cruise movie where he's Wall-E. What's the name of that movie, Austin?
I have no clue.
Where Tom Cruise is Wall-E,
I have no clue.
and he's cleaning up the earth.
That existed?
Yeah, you don't remember that movie?
No. You're going into Tom Cruise. I don't know enough about Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise is a weirdo, but he makes really good movies. Anyways, it's called not Infinity, or what's it called, Luna? Somebody's
No one knows what
Romo is screaming at the radio right now. Jeremy too.
I'm making a little penguin go fast.
Anyways, Tom Cruise plays a guy cleaning the earth, and where was I going with this? Oh, the drones.
Yeah.
The drones from that movie look like the drones in this movie. They're very similar. So Peter has these glasses. He's basically been given a nuclear weapon at his disposal. So then we have our giant mega fight with the metal fire guy, where Peter has to leave a date with MJ, of course. Ned, who has a girlfriend now, it's a very funny storyline. Ned is on a Ferris wheel, and he's in danger, and the fire guy is eating and killing, and Mysterio's going to take him out. And Peter and Mysterio save the day by the skin of their teeth with this thing, right? And they go for a celebratory drink at a bar. This really rustic European bar. And Peter's drinking lemonade. And he's talking to Mysterio. And Mysterio's just happy they saved the world. And Peter decides, I'm going to give him the glasses. Because if I give Mysterio the glasses, I am absolving myself of the responsibility of being Iron Man, and somebody else can do it, and I can be a teenager. And I turned to Josie, and this was over an hour in the movie, right, Josie?
Yeah.
I turned to Josie and I said, before it happened, I said, this is the plot of the movie, Josie. It's all been to get those glasses. That's the big MacGuffin of the movie. So Peter gives the glasses to Mysterio, and he leaves so happy. And it's almost the scene, you've never seen Spider-Man 2.
No.
In Spider-Man 2, he gives up his powers, and he is so happy, right? Don't they play a song or something, Austin, in that movie?
I don't remember.
When he gives up his powers, they play a peppy little song. And so, as soon as Peter leaves, Mysterio turns off the 3D hologram projectors in the bar and proceeds over the next over 10 minutes to lay out the plot of the movie. It's a good plot, but it's excruciatingly doled out to the audience, and it's a matter of I'm just going to tell you the plot. Instead of showing me anything, they're going to tell me the plot via Mysterio speech and flashback clips where everybody who works, everybody in the bar is a former employee of Stark Industries. Mysterio was there when Tony Stark unveiled the hologram technology in Civil War, I think it was. He was just off camera, and Peter Billingsley is there. He's the guy who helped Obadiah Stane build his armor in Iron Man 1. And all of them have gotten together now that Tony's dead.
Talk about a retcon.
Oh, you have no idea. And it's 10 minutes. And he's telling these people everything that they already know because they did it. But it's really for us, the audience. It's lazy screenwriting. The whole time it was going on, I thought, there's got to be a more organic way to get this information out without literally the bad guy monologuing the entire plot of the movie. And basically the plot is Mysterio is an actor. He's got a costume designer. He's got a writer who came up with the alternate universe gag because he said, it's P.T. Barnum. The bigger the lie, the easier people will believe it. And everybody wanted to believe that he was a hero, so he's going to be a hero. And he's going to, in Incredibles Movie 1 fashion, unleash a horrible monster on London and then show up to save the day. Now, Josie, help me out.
Yes.
He releases a horrible monster on London. Millions of people will die. Well, thousands of people will die.
Yes.
He will save the day. And then what? What's the big deal?
He'll become superhero.
But he's not a superhero. Everything he's done has been done through projectors. When he was talking with Peter, all of his fighting, it's all fake. It's all an illusion.
Yes.
Which is fine, except they're keeping up. They did this with the Vulture, where they came up with real world way. I mean, the Vulture's a great villain, right? In the comic books, never cared about the Vulture.
Well,
old man in a flight suit.
I think Spider-Man has ran its gamut of villains. They've done all of the Rogues Gallery. And some of them are taboo. Great characters they have done so badly, like Electro or the Lizard, they can't touch him for like another 6 years.
Yeah, right.
So
well,
they're stuck to Mysterio.
I don't mind Mysterio being the villain. I don't mind him fooling Spider-Man with his holograms. What I can't figure out, I have to see the movie again, which I will because I enjoyed it. What's his plan? Because isn't a better plan to say, I now have an orbiting satellite and I'm going to blow up your city unless you give me $10 gazillion? Doesn't that seem much easier than fooling everybody that he's a hero? What's he going to make money off? Endorsements?
You gotta feel bad for him. He just wants to be super.
He wants to be an Avenger.
Yeah.
But there's no money in being an Avenger. They don't save people and then get paid.
Because didn't he say he felt like he created Edith and he wanted to produce that and make it his thing, but he could only do that if he was a superhero.
Yeah, that's I don't.
People would listen
It's
to him if he
there-
wasn't a superhero.
it's adding a layer to it that in reality they don't need.
Which you're implying that the supervillain wanted to terraform the Earth into his own Earth, which is a plot I've never heard before in a superhero movie.
No, he's not, he can't do it. The bad guys don't exist.
Oh,
They're holograms.
he doesn't have any goons.
These goons are these dummies who hit keyboard strokes. There's scenes of him hitting a keyboard stroke.
After Thanos, this sounds pathetic.
It's very low key, but that's okay. Spider-Man is low key. I don't. The villains need to be like bank robbers and stuff. That's what Spider-Man did. Toombs was a scavenger. He did not want to rule the world. He just wanted to provide. I just want to provide for my family. You come between me and my family, I'll kill you.
I thought the scenes where he's messing with Peter's mind with the holograms were really cool.
No, we'll get to that. Yeah. So his plan is to invent a bad guy and then save the world. It's the same plot from The Incredibles. It's the same plot from The Watchmen. I mean, The Watchmen did it first and best, right? It's Ozymandias. So Peter's going to stop him because MJ finds one of the projectors, right, Josie?
Yeah, she finds one.
And it's got spiderweb on it.
Yeah.
And she knows Peter is Spider-Man. At least she suspected it. And he tells her, He tells her he's Spider-Man. He can't keep a secret. Rachel has the hiccups. It's very funny.
Hiccups. I'm sorry.
So they hit the projector, and it starts projecting the wind elemental.
Yeah, the fight.
And Peter figures it out that it's all fake. And he's going to take Mysterio out. So he goes to Nick Fury, right? Yeah, he gets in a car with Nick Fury. Nick Fury picks him up because he's going to tell Nick Fury that Mysterio's a bad guy. Only, it's not Nick Fury. It's a hologram. And so this begins the very cool, I bet it was great in 3D, Mysterio hologram sequence of Peter's nightmares. We see school hallways he can't get through.
Yeah, because MJ's getting hurt and trying to get to her, but all the school hallways are like shrinking.
Yeah, we see the corpse of Iron Man.
With like a skull coming out of half the helmet. It was really
Luna.
cool.
Luna's there, no?
Luna? No,
Nope,
Luna's
Luna's
dead.
not there.
The Tony Stark skull had a spider jump at you out of its eyeball. Terrifying. Oh yeah. And it actually can make you a little sick because they keep flipping the perspective. He's one way, then he's another way, and he can't fight Mysterio because he doesn't know where Mysterio is. And it culminates in he gets hit by a train and falls unconscious and wakes up in the Netherlands, right, Josie?
Yeah, he wakes up in like a jail.
Yeah, he wakes up in jail with soccer hooligans. So he has to have Happy pick him up.
I saw the backpack at Target.
Oh, cute. Rachel's showing me products.
Josie.
So Happy has to pick him up in the plane,
Oh, okay.
in the Stark jet, and now he has to fly back to London, save London, reveal Mysterio to be a fraud, and more importantly, save his friends who are stuck in the danger zone. And that sets up our giant finale where Peter, even though he knows they're holograms, can't get a bead on Mysterio. He keeps getting his butt kicked, knocked, shot by these drones. All his friends are in trouble. They're being stalked by the drones personally. Mysterio is in full height of his power, full bore bad guy mode. And then finally, Austin, how do you think he's able to overcome the illusions?
He thinks of what makes him happy.
Nope. Well, that doesn't matter. He's not projecting.
Oh.
It's not coming from his mind. It's coming from what he told Mysterio.
I have no clue.
The Peter Tingle,
The Peter Tingle.
The Peter Tingle.
the spider sense, is what helps him navigate into the hologram, through the drones, to finally face Mysterio one by one. And here's the problem I had with this, because I think this is a great idea. This is what a Spider-Man movie is. You have a villain who's all-powerful. Peter is beaten to the bare inches of life, and Peter Parker overcomes it by using a spider power, spider agility, something like that. And the problem is, you probably never seen the Daredevil with Ben Affleck. Right, guys?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Ben Affleck was Daredevil in the movies.
Oh, okay.
It was one of the first big Marvel movies after the X-Men.
Okay.
John Favreau is in it.
Okay.
You know who John Favreau is?
No.
Happy Hogan?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so in that movie, Daredevil is blind. And they show you Daredevil vision throughout the movie, where he uses sonar to see his opponents. And it's all done shaky with waves of sound going across the screen. And finally, in the finale, the Kingpin, he fights the Kingpin in the rain. And the Kingpin becomes visible because he can see where the rain is being disrupted. Right? We don't see any of that in Spider-Man. He just is able to get through it because he has spider senses, because he told us. They don't visually try to tell it. And I thought that was a real missed opportunity. So he faces down Mysterio, and Mysterio looks up and gives up, except what, Josie?
It's another part of a hologram.
It's another hologram, and Mysterio is about to shoot him, and Peter is able to stop him without looking because of
The Peter Tingle.
the Peter Tingle. Happy and Peter's friends are saved because the drone drops. They were using the New England's armory to save themselves. It's very funny. It's very well done. It's a very expensive movie. The jet blows up. The drones are blowing things up. It's very exciting. And so Mysterio is beaten. Peter saves the day. And is there any denouement after that? Do they just cut to New York, Josie? Or is it credits? How did they roll credits?
Oh God, let me think about this for a second.
He.
No, it ends with them leaving the plane, going to the station, the airplane place.
Yeah, there's a lot of funny stuff of Peter using Instagram to find out where they're at because Flash Thompson posts where they're at, and then Flash finds out that Spider-Man follows him. It's very funny. It's all very, topical for young audiences. I get all that. It's totally great. The movie ends with the Ramones, I Want to Be Your Boyfriend.
Wait, guys.
I want to be your boyfriend, right? Yeah, it's very good. And the movie ends with paper credits of the movie. So we watch the whole movie being done through papercraft. It's very clever. Probably done on a computer, not by hand. I don't know. And then the movie has a mid-credit sequence that is showstopper. And if you're going to this movie thinking you're not going to have a good time, this 1 5-minute sequence is worth the price of admission alone. It is Spider-Man flying through New York with all of the finest visual effects. It's completely real. In 3D, I bet it's astounding. Peter is flipping off buildings, swinging around New York. Because remember, in the other movie, we never saw this. This is their first moment of Spider-Man in New York being Spider-Man. He stops, he picks up MJ, and takes her for a ride, and you're there as kind of like the third wheel, and it's very visually exciting. It's very well done. And then everything stops because they're watching the news on a giant screen outside of a building, and Mysterio has one final trick up his sleeve. He has manipulated the footage to make it look like Spider-Man attacked London. So now everybody is going to hate Spider-Man. He is not a good guy. He is hated. And it's really exciting because I've been into Spider-Man my whole life. One of the first toys I ever bought as a kid, I've tried to buy it off eBay, but it's very expensive, is the Spider-Man web fluid and little tiny figures. It's like this goop that it's a rack toy from a grocery store. And it looks like a model glue, Tester's model glue, and you stick it on the building, you pull it out of the tube, and then you hang the little figures of Spider-Man and the Green Goblin on it. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I think it's by Arco. Does that sound right? Arco? Anyways, it's like $100, and I'd really love to have one, but they only show up very, very rarely. It's arguably the first character toy I remember buying before Star Wars. So to see Spider-Man like this and know that they're setting up a sequel where Spider-Man is going to be hated and Peter will really have to work to hide his secret identity, because if they find out that he's Spider-Man, he is done. But the sequence is not over, because the movie has one final big fun surprise, and that is the reveal of J. Jonah Jameson. And it's J.K. Simmons. It's the original one from the Tobey Maguire movies. He doesn't work for the newspaper Daily Planet. He works for the website and web TV show where he's like an Alex Jones screaming about conspiracy stories, and he screams, "This Spider-Man's a menace. He must be stopped." And you're like, oh, the next movie's going to be insane. And then he goes, and we know who he is. His name is Peter Parker. And then they show his picture. And that's when the movie cuts. And I'll tell you what, if you leave the theater at that point,
you'll be fine. fine.
It is stellar summer entertainment. And you'll leave the theater feeling great, and that you had a good time, and that it was fun. But if you stay till the credits end, all of it will be undone, and that's really disappointing.
The ending credit scene takes all the fun out of the movie and says, "Oh, you want to have fun? No, we want you to have Captain Marvel."
Yeah, it's revealed. They show Nick Fury and Agent what's her name?
Maria Hill.
Maria Hill. She's been in every movie. I don't know her name. I know the actress's name.
She's like the least memorable MCU character of them all.
They're driving through the city, commenting on how well the mission went. We were thinking they're talking about the Mysterio mission because it didn't go well, right?
Yeah.
And then, they morph into Skrull from Captain Marvel. And it's the worst makeup you've ever seen. It's lame. It's rubbery. It looks like something from the Spirit Halloween store. And he has to call... You know what it looked like? This is bad. It looked like Bright.
Yeah.
It looked like Bright, that Netflix movie. And so he has to call Nick Fury, who is revealed to be on vacation at the beach. And he tells him that it went well. And Nick Fury says, okay. And then Nick Fury gets up. The camera pulls back, and he's on a spaceship. It was only a fake beach. He is traveling through the stars, going somewhere. It is lame. It is a dumb setup to another movie. And it undoes all of the Nick Fury stuff you just watched. Because we never saw Nick Fury stumble. The only time there was any hint that Nick Fury was a Skrull in this movie is when Spider-Man asks where Captain Marvel is, and he says, "Don't invoke her name." So, oh well. What a bummer. But, it's not going to stop me from watching the movie again. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Mess it up a little bit.
Josie and I left that movie theater after 3 a.m. because AMC doesn't care that it's after midnight when the movie starts. You're still getting, and I clocked it, 22 minutes of trailers. 22 minutes.
The trailer's never...
Hey, Luna, I'm done talking about Spider-Man if you want to come out.
Where did
Luna go?
I have no clue.
Okay.
He must have went hiding.
So, we had to sit... What is the name of that trailer with Will Smith as a secret agent?
The Pigeon movie.
The Pigeon movie.
It's not a pigeon movie. That's not the name of it.
It's Invisible, something like that.
Invisible Spies?
Something.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's Tom Holland and Will Smith. And Will Smith is the world's greatest super agent. Except Tom Holland has invented an invisibility potion, which Will Smith's character drinks. And the plot of the movie is he gets turned into a bird.
So weird.
I looked at Josie and I said, people don't really watch these movies, right? This looks terrible. Did Disney buy Fox for this? This looks unwatchable.
It was already done. The stuff
It looks like a parody. And we had to sit through the trailer for Hobbs and Shaw, which is this Fast and the Furious spin-off movie that looked like the cinematic equivalent of somebody hitting you on the head with a hammer. What a horrible, horrible movie.
This movie was like these girls with these wigs that were really annoying.
Josie says there's a movie about a girl with wigs. She's talking about the Charlie's Angels reboot.
Again?
Yeah.
How many times?
Well, girl power.
How many times?
This is the second cinematic reboot of Charlie's Angels.
I hate to say it, but I don't think anybody cares about Charlie's Angels.
Patrick Stewart is in it. Kristen Stewart is in it. A lot of Stewarts.
I have some questions about Spider-Man.
Yes.
Okay, so I work at Target, right? So I get a lot of guests in line. That day, pretty much every guest in line that was in the 19 to 23 demo was talking about Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's all people talked about.
It was the 12:30 showing was sold out.
And there were these two girls that were in an argument over Spider-Man. One girl loved it and thought it was great. The other girl was really disappointed. And she feels that the best Spider-Man is Andrew Garfield. Now, let me offer some context.
Okay.
She had a backup argument.
Yes.
Her backup argument was that this many movies in, Tom Holland is still very pathetic and puny, and he doesn't have the sassio side of Spider-Man that Andrew Garfield had. He doesn't have edge to him.
Well, both the Tobey Maguire and the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies, he was in New York from day one.
Yes.
So he's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man wisecracker from day one. And I'll tell you what, I've seen the Andrew Garfield movies a few times because I like Spider-Man. Those movies were made so that Sony could keep the license, so that the license would not revert back to Marvel. They rushed them to production. They make no sense. All of the deep subplots that were promised in the trailer were cut out of the movie. And Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is mean. His wisecracks are... He's a bully. He's a bully. The sequence where... Give an example. He has superpowers. He is a super freaking hero. And this guy pulls out a knife, and he goes, "Oh, you found my weakness? Small knives." And then he bullies the guy and wraps him up in webbing like it's an assault.
Oh my God.
He goes above and beyond fighting crime. He takes pleasure in it.
So what I should take in this is that girl at Target has very questionable taste in it.
Well, it just means that it came out in her target demographic, because nobody will remember this, but the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies were rebooted that way because of Twilight.
Yes.
Are we almost done with this?
In a minute.
Yeah, 5 minutes or less.
I do think it's interesting that we have
last
had
night because you guys
2 Spider-Man reboots aimed at girls, entirely different stabs at Peter Parker. One completely failing and one completely being successful.
Yeah.
This is the last film made in the original contract. Now, they're going to sign it. Of course they're going to
Oh,
sign it.
yeah, no. Spider-Man is... People won't believe this. He's the most lucrative superhero franchise that's ever existed. Those 3 Tobey Maguire movies, even the third one, which people hate, the third one made more money than the other 2.
That's insane.
Huge, stupid amounts of money.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think Tom Holland is the focal point of the MCU now? He's the main character?
I think, well, they can't, because why would Disney allow that?
Yeah.
He has
what it's become.
He has to reject the Tony Stark mantle because Disney can't have their Marvel franchise being headed by a character from another franchise.
I read that, like, the contract...
Another studio.
There's, like, a fine line in the sand. Like, for example, she can't be called Mary Jane. She has to be called MJ because of a contract dispute.
That's weird to me.
It's strange, but Sony's, like, really tight on this type of
I thought they were calling her MJ because they didn't want to commit to her being Mary Jane, which seems silly.
No, they do a contract.
That's just silly.
Mary Jane.
That's just silly.
It's Sony. They can't use Venom.
Oh, you mean the Marvel can't?
Yeah.
No, they can't.
Yeah, there's a bunch of, like, they can't use any of the characters Paul Feig wanted to use for his reboot.
Yeah, Sony owns Black Cat, Sandman, Green Goblin, Silver... All the Spider-Man stuff was purchased by Sony for almost nothing when Marvel needed the money.
Yep.
When they needed the money. When Toy Biz went out of business.
Yes.
So, it's a good movie. I enjoyed it. I love Spider-Man. It makes me want to watch the Tobey Maguire ones just because it's interesting to see like a handcrafted one that didn't rely... I mean, the first one did rely a lot on computer graphics, but we're talking 2002.
Oh, it was a different time.
A totally different time, right?
Those movies came naturally. They weren't planned. They weren't set up.
The Andrew Garfield movies even came out and said, well, our big breakthrough is the texture of the costume. Because when he's falling out of the sky, it flutters. So I remember,
I think
it sure does.
Film is just like a case study in marketing. And how millions of dollars can go down the drain for nothing. And for Andrew Garfield, he got to be Spider-Man and he got stuck with the worst one.
Yeah, it does suck for him because he got saddled with that script. So, all right, with great power comes great responsibility. This is The Voice with my family here talking about Spider-Man.
Spider-Man
No.
does
singing.
whatever a Spider-Man does. Can he swing? Yes, he can. Because he's Spider-Man.
Hey,
Oh,
Austin,
yes, he
will
is.
you help me win? Because
All
I'm
right,
feeling.
Rachel, give me a really tired end of the show here.
Well, this old lady needs to get some sleep because these people made me binge watch Stranger Things yesterday.
Yeah, that episode's coming next.
I was up till 1 a.m. and then I had to get up early to take Austin to work. And I went to a mall and an antique place and a party. all today, so I kind of need to wrap it up. Wrap it up. Everybody, good night from 91 Reasons.
Thanks for listening by Graham Thar's Hammer. We'll be back with another episode. Live long and prosper. May the force be with you. So say we all. Hey, hey, hey.
This is one time where television really fails to capture the true excitement of a large squirrel predicting the weather.